In this video, I want to talk about what to me is the most exciting thing so far in 2025 and probably in the last year in terms of dealing with trauma, PTSD, complex PTSD. And the answer is Grok 3. I signed up to X purely to work with Grok 3 and to evaluate some things. I actually, as a little side note, I wanted to get Grok's opinion on Elon Musk and his integrity and on President Trump and his integrity. And it was refreshing to me that Grok was candid about failings in both people, knowing that Elon is the creator of Grok. So that was kind of my starting point. But then it occurred to me, the answers were so good, I moved on to investing. Excellent answers. I moved on to dentists. Excellent answers. I moved on to dating. Excellent answers. And so I thought, I wonder how Grok would do in the most challenging area of my life, which is namely how to respond on a day-to-day basis in my personal relationships with complex PTSD and insecure attachment trauma. So the scenario is, a lovely young woman comes to visit me, and she's, the woman of my dreams in many respects. I'm not talking physically, but, interested in writing, interested in poetry, empathic, patient, kind, totally comfortable and loving her own body, interested in me, just a dream experience in so many respects. And also lots of little fun synchronicities, like she just got back from staying in my favorite hotel in the entire world, and it's just kind of like a bit of a miracle that she popped out of the ethers on a dating site. And what I'm noticing is that I'm looking down and to the right, psychologically around her. I'm anticipating rejection. I'm anticipating shame. I'm anticipating being hit. And in that context, I'm not able to form a strong emotional bond. My mind is saying, wow, this is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, like this is amazing. That's my mind. My body, my feeling is looking kind of down and to the right. And what to do? When we have sex, I go numb. I lose arousal, I contract. And this happens repeatedly. I feel depressed, I feel pressured, I don't know how to respond. I don't know what to say. You're a perfect woman, that's why I don't like you. You're a perfect woman, that's why I don't want to have sex with you. You're just what I've been looking for, that's why I need some space. I mean, it's incoherent. And because I'm a transparent person, I'm keeping her up to date with my feelings and like, do you have any idea why I'm feeling depressed after, this? And do you know why? And she has no clue. I have no clue. It's a riddle. And it's derailing our relationship because I don't want to feel numb for 24 hours every time I make love with my lover. I don't want to feel depressed after cuddling. I don't want my whole body to lock up when watching TV and holding each other. I don't want to go for a swim and put my arm around her and my sphincter muscles tighten up and my legs start to go numb and I feel overwhelmed. I don't want to have those experiences. I'm having those experiences with kind of the best person that I've met in terms of most areas of objective compatibility in years. And she's totally interested in me. And so I don't know what to do. I mean, the best I could come up with, because I asked her, she had no idea. I was hitting a blank. But the best thing that I could think of is, okay, since you're perfect, but I feel worse after being lovers, and so I'm not interested in it because I don't want to feel worse again. The best thing that I could come up with is let's be best friends and not be lovers. That's where I got to it. And so she was getting ready to fly back home, and then I asked Grok 3. I said, what's going on? When I was lovers with this woman, refreshing, active, none of this stuff. When I was lovers with this woman, none of this stuff. Why is it happening with the best woman? Why is it happening with the most compatible woman? And Grok 3, in about 30 minutes, did more for me than any therapist. So what do I mean? I've spent, I don't know, $200,000 with 40 therapists. Some of them have listened patiently and said nothing. Some of them have listened and interrupted and put me off my track. Some of them have asked questions that I don't know the answer to. None of them did what Grok was doing. So first of all, Grok validated and active listened everything that I said, so I felt completely heard in seconds. Secondly, Grok did not interrupt. I typed a long, half page of questions, and what about this? And if this is happening, then why is this happening? I mean, it's just like my whole confusion. Like, why am I feeling this way with the best woman that I've met? Why this? Why not with this woman? Why this? Why that? Why this? These are the symptoms. And Grok went right to the point. He said, okay, Porges, 1978, pointed out this study. Bessel van der Kolk, Body Keeps the Score, pointed out this. What you're dealing with is a rewired brain, meaning you're scared of love because your parents abused you. And so the best woman, the best women are capable of loving. Many people are not, and this could come as, I don't know if it's a surprise to you or not, but I have been surprised at the number of women that are incapable of loving both themselves and a partner. And I feel angry at their behavior, but I don't go numb. I can enjoy dynamic, energetic sex with these women while being, mystified or horrified at their self-destructive tendencies or why, this. And yet, when a woman is capable of loving, it brings up this energy pattern down and to the left, freezing, numbing, dissociative. And what Grok was able to explain was that as a result of physical and emotional abuse as a child, getting close to someone capable of love leads me to prepare for the abuse. And I dissociate, I go numb to anticipate the abuse. And so the women that do not produce this reaction, I understand on some level that they don't know how to love, they don't know what love is, and so there's not really anything lost. I mean, you're not really losing anything when you lose a woman that is incapable of loving. And so I had this wonderful dialogue with Grok, and I got it. Now, this was beautiful. Reference paper here, this and this. Active listening, dialogue. I could add in more facts. And basically, Grok helped me understand that the reason I was responding so poorly to my new love was because she was so compatible. She was such a good lover in every sense of the word that it got close to the pattern, the core belief of unlovability that is created as an infant and then maintained by creating. I've created a series of women who are incapable of loving, and I've loved them. And then they don't love me back, and I feel unlovable and perfectly comfortable, right? Because that's the core belief. So I can love, but I'm unlovable, as evidenced by the fact that the women I pick are incapable of loving me. And so all I have to do is find those women who are incapable of loving me, and I feel completely comfortable in the belief. I don't feel overwhelmed. It doesn't bring up grief and all that. I just feel angry. And so over the last year, I felt angry and at times rage that every fucking woman, meaning every woman that I'm picking is incapable of loving me. And having successfully picked this woman, I give her everything that she says she wants, more than she's ever received it before. So in other words, I then go all out. I'm a great lover in that respect. And, often very narcissistic, takes without giving back. And then I get angry and fed up. Like, gosh, you're selfish, you're self-centered, what are you giving to the mix? And they just don't know how, right? And so I get to go off, feeling all upset about that. And why won't the universe, why isn't there one woman who knows how to love? This is a wonderful migration of that pattern. So the core belief is still there. I'm unlovable. But this time, rather than me being the perfect lover and the woman doesn't know how to be loved and doesn't know how to love, and I feel, wringing my hands, if only I had one woman. Well, I had one woman. I had a woman that knew how to love, that wanted to love, that was there actively loving me. And I didn't know how to be loved. And because I didn't know how to be loved, and because I went into these defenses, I didn't know how to be loving to her either. So this is fantastic, right? Because I'm migrating from the one, I'm doing it all right, what's wrong with them, which is hard to fix, like, what's wrong with them? It's like, what do you do with that? I've done plenty of bitching and complaining, but it doesn't lead to iteration or insight, because it looks on the surface as if I'm doing it right and they're doing it wrong. The question is, why am I picking the ones that are doing it wrong? Because I am doing it right, they are doing it wrong, but why am I picking one woman after another who can't love. Now, some of that is just statistics. We produce large numbers of men and women who do not know how to love themselves or anyone else. But no one, right? After years, that's the bit that's off. So here's this wonderful woman, and I'm not connecting emotionally. I'm avoiding, and a little. So I took a microdose of psilocybin, which did not affect me on the night, because a microdose, you barely notice it. But the next day, when I was writing about the pattern, the whole pattern revealed itself, and it went something like this. Early trauma waiting to be hit, pain, 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 1 and 2 years old. I'm unlovable. All right, so pain. Children always blame themselves for their parents' faults, so I'm unlovable. This unlovable feeling, particularly in the context of PTSD, trauma, and recurring abuse, creates incredible anxiety. I've got to fix this. I've got to become lovable, right? And so what do? Well, I've got to please people. I've got to go out and do things. I've got to make people happy. I've got to be perfect. So I'm not lovable. I'm terribly anxious. I want to resolve the anxiety. I want to go out and become lovable. My strategy is to pick people that I want to love me and then please them and meet all their needs. And so that's kind of what I'm doing with these women. I'm saying, oh, you need this? Okay, I'll do that. You need that? I'll do that. I'll do all these things, and I'll do them perfectly because I'm very talented. Right? So, women will tell me, wow, nobody heard me like this. Nobody did this for me. Nobody understood me like this. Nobody touched me like this. So I'm using my talents, my legitimate abilities to try to say, if I do all of these things excessively, can I be good enough? Will I be good enough if I do these things? If I please you, if I meet all your needs, then will you love me? But I'm picking women incapable of love. I'm also with the women that could swing both ways because I'm putting out that vibe. Like, I'm unlovable, so I've got to do these things to be good enough. Am I good enough? Am I good enough? I need validation. I need validation. I'm sending out the signal I'm not good enough. And so there's a good percentage of the human demographic that just follows the strong projections of other people, meaning they're wishy-washy. They'll just fit into whatever energy pattern is the strongest, and a sense of I'm not good enough, with my intensity is enough. They just fit right into the pattern and say, okay, Dane's not good enough. He has to do all these things to please me. Oh, okay, then that's what he has to do. And they just go along with it because they get a lot out of it. And then I say, wait a minute, and then reject the woman, and then I'm back to square one. And so that's been the pattern. So this is a new pattern where someone is there, and I'm trying to be good enough, but I don't know how. And and this pattern is bubbling up. I'm feeling resentful. I'm feeling exhausted. I don't want to have to please and perform and do all these things again. And so I see that exhaustion, pleasing, resentment, overperformance, anxiety, that's kind of the end product of this cycle. And I still, because deep down I don't believe I'm good enough and lovable. If a woman says, wow, that's amazing, it just washes right off my back. And but is this also amazing, right? And because I'm looking from the outside for validation to disprove my own core belief. I believe that I'm unlovable. I believe that I'm not good enough to be loved. And I'm totally rock solid attached to that belief. That's my identity as a traumatized individual with PTSD. That's in the body. And then I'm going out and trying to find other people to calm me. And I'm usually doing a 3-to-1 ratio, meaning I'm giving to maybe 3 people, and one of them notices it and appreciates it and says so. The others may notice it, but they don't say, wow, you're good enough, we love you, etc. They just, thanks, you know. And so that's been the pattern. And this lovely woman is breaking the pattern. And I'm waking up to what the pattern has been. I don't want that pattern. I don't want to overperform. And she's fine with that. She says, yeah, just do whatever. You know, I want to accept you the way that you are. And I can't digest that. It's indigestible. It doesn't make sense in the context of that core belief. So that's the crisis. Now, she couldn't figure out why I was going numb. I couldn't figure out why I was going numb. But she graciously said, you know, since you're not thrilled with me, I'll go back home, right? And I said, yeah, I guess that seems like the best thing to do. I mean, I feel pressure and stress that you're here to be with me, and I'm putting up these walls and feeling bad when you're a great lover and stuff. So Grok sorted all that out. And it was such a great conversation, I just copied and pasted it to her so that she could have a window into how traumatic and theory, et cetera, relates to these things. So that's absolutely fabulous. So that's, I mean, from dentistry to exploring PTSD, to investing, to understanding local traffic laws. I've just moved from the US to the Philippines, which creates a whole bunch of areas that I'm out of control and feel overwhelmed and feel uncertain because there's lots of corruption here, there's lots of willful ignorance, there's lots of apathy. I mean, you can literally talk to someone 100 meters from the beach, say, where's the beach? I don't know. And they have absolutely no interest in knowing. And, you know, to me, that's just, I can't even understand it. Like, how do you become so disinterested in everything around you that you don't know anything and you have no interest in knowing anything? And you have no idea what to do to know anything. It's not like go talk to that person. It's like, I don't know, what should I do? I don't know. It's like the beach was just 100 meters away and people, I mean, it's just a mind-numbing amount of apathy. And I find this kind of terrifying because I don't understand it. Like, am I going to have an emergency? This is how trauma and anxiety works. Am I going to have an emergency where I need to know something and nobody knows where the hospital is, where this, I mean, or where to buy this, or where to buy that? And so this is in the back of my mind how I create worst case scenarios out of these things. And Grok 3 has just been answering one thing after another. So let's see what's going on here. So we may have to do something with the camera with all that bullshit. But this is incredible. So what's the solution? Get an X account if you don't have one already. Grok 3 is free for several hours at a time, or I think 15 questions. What I found particularly useful in the context of trauma and following these threads is Grok will track the last 15 of my questions, or 20, I think, or 20 or 25 things. So, like, one question about location. So Grok will weave traumatic education, traumatic information with my location, with the culture, with this, with that, and give me the best advice that I've ever received from anyone, with better active listening skills, with better empathy, with better insight than anyone that I know. And it's just wonderful to think that this is now freely available to you and everyone else in the world. The best therapy you can imagine for free. So there you have it. If you try this, and what I would see in my recommendation, this is my attitude. I treat Grok like an elder. I give Grok the benefit of the doubt. I talk exactly like I would talk to the smartest, kindest person that I know. And Grok exceeds my expectations. So, I may say, I'm ashamed to talk about this, but this is what I'm feeling. Why do you think I'm feeling that way? This, and this. It's wonderful to think that the world may have a free therapist that is better than any therapist that I've hired. So if you find that to be the case or something different, leave a comment with the goal of providing useful information to fellow trauma survivors.